Colombia's national strike drew thousands of protesters from across different sections of society. Students, activists, and indigenous groups, as well as ordinary citizens, joined more than 40 unions striking against pension, tax, and labor reforms. The broad coalition of social groups had one thing in common: a discontent with the Colombian government.
The indifference is what's killing us. We aren't getting rid of all those corrupt people who are eating up our budgets and privatizing everything.
Vemos que son muchos los desafíos que como país tenemos que superar.
President Iván Duque's disapproval is at its highest level since he took office in August 2018. A recent Gallup poll found nearly 70% of those surveyed disapprove of the job Duque is doing. Rising unemployment, economic reforms, and a deteriorating security situation are some of the grievances. Government officials cited this week false motivations for the strike and denied plans to lower the minimum wage. Indigenous leaders taking part in the strike were received warmly by Colombian civilians. Some 135 indigenous people have been killed since Duque took office, they say. A recent massacre sparked national and international calls for action.
When I see this support, I think of the fallen, of those indigenous people who have given their lives. When I see other voices rising up, I feel that they didn't die in vain because they've inspired others to rise.
In Bogota, teachers joined students as they marched toward the city center in Plaza Bolívar.
There are not enough education resources. Why are so many students having to abandon their studies because they don't have a way to pay for school fees, transportation, and food?
Leading up to the protest, fears brewed that the demonstrations would get out of hand. The government announced the shutdown of borders. It also authorized authorities to impose curfews and bans on the sale of alcohol to contain the protests.
We need to let go of the fear that the government is trying to instill in us. We need to ignore them and go out and march bravely and with the confidence that nothing bad will happen.
During a private meeting earlier this week with the Colombian government and media outlets, CGTN asked what would happen if these protests go on longer than Thursday. And they answered they had a plan for every scenario. They didn't go into further details.
Michelle Begue, CGTN, Bogota, Colombia.
Next door in Venezuela, thousands of university students on the march. They're protesting at the Central University of Venezuela in the capital, Caracas. They're calling for an end to the presidency of Nicolas Maduro. The National Guard has surrounded exits from the university to contain the demonstration. Venezuela is embroiled in political, economic instability as Maduro and opposition leader Juan Guaido battle for power.